All right, it's Friday, late afternoon, and here's all the new goodies laid out. Hope to get installed this weekend. Got the new reservoir tank, air filter, heater core, blower motor, silicone radiator tubes, flow cooler water pump, steering pump, AC evaporator, fluids, and the new aluminum radiator. All right, so I think the plan today is to start with a coolant flush to get the stuff out of mostly the engine block, because that's all gonna, everything else is gonna be new. And then we'll get inside, get the HVAC box out, and then get the carpet out and get that rust taken care of and the welding done. All right, so an update on where we're at with the Jeep. It's pushing 2 o'clock in the morning, and I've done 2 flush cycles on the coolant. I didn't time the first one, but I did time the second one. I started the timer a couple minutes after the Jeep was running and went about 40 minutes on the timer. So 40 to 45 minutes idling before it hit the 235 mark, and I shut it off. So, and Joe and I estimate that when I test drove it, that we were running it for about 15 to 20 minutes to that same temperature. So that was under some load, whereas this was just at idle, but it seems like we've essentially doubled the longevity, but still 40 minutes isn't going to get you very far on a road trip. So we're just sitting, letting it cool right now, a little bit longer, and then I'm going to drain the coolant, and then it's time to start pulling parts off. Now, the fact that it's still overheating at idle after what we've done, we're estimating that we've got some sort of part malfunction. And our estimation is it's likely the water pump, which I fortunately have a new one to put in. So, and another spot of good news is that the heat in the cab was working and was flowing. So the heater core isn't showing any significant signs of leaking. I'm still going to replace it, but there doesn't seem to be a clog or anything. So we're thinking that it's just a flow issue, and then the electric fan is also not kicking in. So I've got a temperature sensor probably to replace, and if not, I have a backup fan I got from the junkyard. So new parts going on soon. We'll update you when we get to that point. All right, so you can see the extent to which the power steering fluid has been leaking, but also further evidence that the water pump is an issue, as was suspected. All right, so here is the water pump. You can see the grooves that have been carved into this that shouldn't be there. In fact, I think this should be close to flat, and you can see there's a good example right there of the scraping that's been going on with this turbine. So seems that the coolant problem's probably primarily this guy right here. All right, so let me tell you where we're at. It is not quite 4:30 Saturday afternoon. Joe and I stayed up all night. We worked through until about 9 o'clock this morning. Actually, it was a little bit later, about 10:30. And so at that point, we were just both completely out of gas, and so decided to recharge a little bit and take a nap. He's still asleep, I got about 3 hours, and then as I was rolling out of bed to get going, I landed on my glasses and broke them right in the center. I don't know if you can see, but there's a line right here on the bridge. Yeah, there you can see it. But I was able to get them super glued together, and so far they seem to be holding, so they'll get me through. But looks like I'll be getting a new pair of glasses now. So anyway, I just got back from Napa Auto Parts, got the new thermostat housing, which I also broke that yesterday, so I got a brand new one of those, which I was thinking about anyway, so that's not a big deal. Couldn't find a replacement for this piece, which goes on the water pump housing. I really was wanting to replace it because of just some corrosion and stuff on the inside, but can't identify it, and Napa didn't have any luck either, so I'm just going to clean it up and reuse the old one because the threads do fit. So I'm not sure if I've gone about this the right way or not. In my mind, it seemed most efficient to take care of everything that required certain disassemblies all at once, so I didn't have to disassemble certain things multiple times. The problem is that's left me trying to do 3 different huge jobs kind of all at once, and mentally keeping track of them and trying not to overstay my welcome in my friend's garage has led to some sleep deprivation and just some mental fatigue, and which also ties into some physical fatigue. Forgive the noise, but just documenting what's going on. So today's Monday. We worked on the Jeep Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I just had a couple of hours to put in on it today, but we did get the carpet and the HVAC box back into place, and all things related to the HVAC box are hooked up. And then we did the power washing of the engine bay. And now my buddy Joe's power washing his garage. I've been in his roommate's spot for those 3 days. And so it's gonna be Thursday or Friday before I can work on it again. So, but we've got it out, and we're gonna leave it now outside, which will be good to let everything dry, and his roommate can have his spot back. So sense of urgency is now subdued. So we're making progress. Getting things back on is always much more rewarding than taking them off. All right, it's been a couple days after the power wash, but this is the results. The old and the new, vastly improved. So I replaced this morning the what should be the oil pressure sensor, that little guy right there. Hopefully that will get my gauge to work, and we are now just getting ready to put on the water pump and new thermostat housing, etc. So time to button her up. All right, so here is the end of day summary. Unfortunately, the cooling system, it overheated after about 5 minutes, and our assessment is that the brand new water pump that I got, that's supposed to be especially good for low RPM ranges, it doesn't seem to be moving any fluid whatsoever. So yeah, it overheated quickly, and the only fluid we've got in the upper part of the system seems to be the result of steam from some boiling. So I'll be seeking a refund for that water pump. I'm gonna go do some research on an OEM one I'll probably pick up at a local store, and I'll be back tomorrow to swap that out and hope that solves the problem. So I'll be riding Joe's scooter home because my motorcycle starter is not wanting to work. Another problem I've got to solve. That's for a different series. So that's where we're at. So hopefully Saturday afternoon we will make some progress with some coolant system and ultimately get the Jeep back to Ogden. Okay, so I've got the hose off of the water pump itself, and as you can see, there is no liquid coming out. So there's nothing moving through that water pump. Okay, so I just pulled the lower radiator hose off, and I do have fluid draining out. So there has been fluid coming into the water pump that direction, but it certainly wasn't coming out here when the vehicle was running. So okay, so we did a couple things differently. Right now we're doing the initial test. So I got the wrong water pump from O'Reilly's, and the throat on the turbine was too long and was interfering with my fan, which I found just as I was starting to put it on. So I took that back. Fortunately, without hassle, they exchanged it, and they had a different one that did match. And so I brought it back, put it on. That all went well. And then we decided to fill it up, instead of through the tank, through the tube that attaches directly on top of the water pump. So we had a funnel with a small opening. We put in there, and it took about 1.5 gallons of fluid. And so far things seem to be working pretty well. My temperature's climbing slowly. I'm currently almost to about 155, about 140 right now. But I have coolant that is flowing through the tank, and the tank level is maintaining. So it seems to be going out and in at a relatively same rate. So now we wait and see as it just continues to idle and get up to temp. All right, so here's the evening summary for Saturday. The new water pump from O'Reilly's seems to be working. We idled for about 40 minutes, and the temperature got up to about 230, 235, so we shut it off. The electric fan is not kicking on, even though I've got new relays and new temp sensor for the electric fan. So I've got a wiring problem to figure out. All in all, over the last week, including last weekend, got a lot done, and I am feeling accomplished about that, but I have to admit that it's a bit of a downer to have replaced all those coolant parts and still have essentially the same cooling issue. It's not improved. 40 to 45 minutes is what we got out of it before. Seems to be about the same. So anyway, there doesn't seem to be anything else that can be done here at Joe's. So we are going to load them up and take it home, and I'll put in a little time here and there and see what I can figure out.